Today in the Bionic Shop, we're changing the wiper fluid reservoir and pump.
Better, stronger, faster.
To access the windshield wiper fluid reservoir, we need to remove this front panel. It works just like the front panel on the battery side. 3 T30 torque head screws, a 10 mil bolt just sitting under this weather stripping, and a second 10 mil bolt running a clamp on the bottom of the panel. You loosen the bottom bolt, you don't remove it, and the panel will just slide out. Additionally, we're going to have to loosen up this interior wheel well panel. To do that, we're going to remove a 7 mil self-tapping screw from the weather stripping and lift this part out of the way. There's 2 more 7 mil screws on the front side of the weather stripping, but we can just lift this over onto the ends and leave the 2 on the front. We'll then remove all the 10 mil bolts from just this rear interior well panel, and that'll give us some flexibility to reach one of the bolts on the back side of the reservoir. Okay, so here's that 7 mil headed self-tapping screw, and we'll just quickly loosen it out. There you go. And then the weather stripping just pops off. Okay, so now we've moved on to the T30 screws. Now I only took this 4th bolt out down here because again we're going to be loosening this panel. So the first 10 mil bolts just hidden right under this weather stripping, easy enough to just scooch that out of the way. Alright, so that's all the way out, but I'll just leave it in there just to hold the panel while we loosen the bottom. Okay, just remove this 10 mil bolt from the top, and the panel should just slide right out. Okay, so this is the windshield wiper fluid reservoir. You can see there's a crack right here. That's where we've been having a leak. And then 2 10 mil bolts right here. There's a third 10 mil bolt over there that I just can't access, and so that's why we're going to loosen up this inner wheel well fender. There's 8 10 mil bolts altogether that we have to remove from this panel. 4 right here, 2 exposed there, and there's 2 on the underside. This rivet, I just leave in place. I don't know if there's an easy way to remove that, but once those other 8 bolts are removed, there's plenty of access to get to the reservoir, and this seems to keep the panel in place for when we put the bolts back on. So we'll just loosen up each of these bolts with a 10 mil socket. Okay, so 2 10 mil bolts to start removing the reservoir. And I'll just leave this bolt for here while it's just a little bit trickier to access this 3rd bolt back there. So here's the 3rd bolt right here. I've already removed the little clip-on harness for the electrical wires that go to the pump. They just sit right housed in that little hole there, and that's what this bracket's for. But we just need to get this 10 mil bolt out. With the reservoir turned upside down, we just need to remove the electrical lead from the pump and remove the hose that carries the wiper fluid from the pump to the wipers. So here's the replacement remanufactured reservoir tank that we bought from Corvette Mods. I found a few on eBay as well, but just went through Corvette Mods, about the same price. I've already fished in a 7/8 socket on a long extension or a couple extensions, and just need to loosen this interior filter from the pump assembly. The pump and dust cover is not included in the, or wasn't supposed to be included in the Corvette mods purchase, but it's clearly a used pump, and the bag, the dust cover is actually ripped. So going to remove that and put the new pump in that we also purchased. So once you get the socket around the filter, it's super easy to pull this off. So there's the pump inside the bag. Let me see, so you can see what it looks like. There you go. Oh, something nesting in there. Anyway, so there you go. There's the old pump. Clearly been used. It's stained blue from the cleaning fluid. So we'll go ahead and replace that. We'll also use our original bag. This one's got a big rip on the bottom. It's not in too bad a shape, but we'll just use the bag we took off the old one. So I purchased the AC Delco replacement pump from Rock Auto. It took a while to ship, and while I was waiting, I purchased this Trico pump from O'Reilly's. They have to be the exact same. The blow molding container is the same, the pumps look identical, the instructions are the same. So I think you're good going with either one, but as I have both, I'm going to use the AC Delco from Rock Auto, and I'll end up just returning the Trico one. But just good to know they're very similar. Okay, so the pump just goes inside the bag. Fish it through the top hole. On goes the new gasket. So I got a new filter as well. The old filters don't look that bad, but I didn't know before I took it out, so I went ahead and purchased a new one, and I'll just hold on to these for now. And then I found it easiest to set the filter into the socket and then fish it through and just get a look at it from the top. And you can slowly see it. You can just see it come into position there. And so there, it's lined up. I gotta clean this off. And I will just twist on the new pump. Go. Okay, so here's the new reservoir, and we'll just peel back the dust cover to get to the pump. So here's our two electrical leads and where the fluid actually comes out of the pump. So why don't we hook the fluid up first. It's just a pressure fitting. There we go. It's on there pretty good. And then the electrical leads. Just a nice plug. There we go. Okay, let's offer that up to the car. We'll get these two front bolts in first. And then this final one that also receives the electrical leads. And the last thing to do is just pop the electrical clip back into its retaining hole. There we go. Just bolt it back together. Okay, so the inner fender's bolted back in. Here's the windshield wiper fluid we got. Alright, that should be good for test. Alright, looks like we're in business. Putting the cover panel back on is just the reverse of taking it off. But now, it houses a leak-free reservoir
and a brand new pump. Feels great bringing an old car back to life.